The Mom View is brought to you by Moms for America in partnership with the Herzog Foundation, empowering moms and championing Christian education nationwide.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to raise kids who are both unstoppable and well-mannered? Well, today on The Mom View, Mona Corwin reveals the secret to living with no regrets and empowering the next generation. Plus, Priscilla Jordan shares her tips for teaching your kids manners that will make them stand out in the best way possible. I'm going to read a quote by James Foss, and it says, "There is no greater good in all the world than motherhood. The influence of a mother in the lives of her children is beyond calculation." Welcome to The Mom View. All right, guys, thanks a lot for joining us today on our Mom View. I'm Allie, and I'm here with all of our lovely hosts, and we have a special guest host, Miss Mona, and we are so excited for you to be here. So Miss Mona here is incredible. She's America's mom mentor, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her because she's just awesome.
You're really sweet. I'm Mona Corwin. I am a mentor to moms, many moms, but more than that, I just want the world to see the value of motherhood. It is time that we started restoring the value to motherhood, womanhood, marriage, and home. And so that's what I do.
Now, does this just mean moms that have birthed children, or does this mean all women that have that motherly influence?
Well, it's both.
Okay.
Because the Bible tells us in Titus 2 that we're to mentor the younger generation.
Oh, that's
we're
so
to
good.
mentor them and teach them. And how I would have loved to have had a mentor growing up. Yeah. And it wasn't until I was older that I did get one. And it changed the trajectory of our marriage and my mothering. And I believe our generational line of the Corwin family is better off because of the mentors that did come into my life. Mm-hmm. It is so valuable. They will get you past those cow patties and those pitfalls in such a nice way and tell you to take a nap on Thursday. So these are the things that older women can teach younger women.
I heard a lot of self-care in that.
Mona, we have a great clip coming up, and I know everybody that's watching has seen this clip, right? Harrison Butger, kicker from the Kansas City Chiefs, did this incredible speech, a commencement speech at a graduation at Benedictine College, where he talked about the incredible importance of homemakers and how much he loved and appreciated his wife and how she made him the man that she was. So let's see this, and then we're all going to comment on this, on the word homemaker.
I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
I love that clip. And you know what I love most about it is he gets choked up.
Oh, stop. That was mine. I was going to say that.
You can tell. I mean, he really means this. He's very emotional about it. And one of the things that I've been preaching this so long, two things. One is motherhood is our divine nature. Childbirth is part of the equation. We are raising an entire nation, and whatever America's going to look like, the world's going to look like in 10, 20 years, we're deciding it. So whatever we do in the home, when you're talking about a homemaker, they've made that that means you're a stay-home mom, or you don't have a job, or you have no value. Oh my gosh, you have the greatest value because you're not just building a home, you're building a nation. You're creating whatever is going to be instilled in the lives of those children that's going to create the future. So right now we should be very concerned about what's the future is going to look like based on what's happening in the home. So the fact that he specifically said the word homemaker and the whole world exploded.
They did.
Well, I never liked the term housewife,
No.
but I will definitely take homemaker.
Yeah.
I just think that is so endearing. I think it is so special to make your home a place that everyone loves. It's the
It's
heart
the
of it.
music that you have, the pictures on the wall, the conversations you have, the books that you read, all of it, you're making a home. And I really love gardening. I love deciding what pillows I love trading out the seasons on my front table. I mean, that it makes your home feel welcoming. And I was staying at some friends just a couple of days ago in California, and they said, "Do you feel at home here?" And I loved that they said that, because it's not a hotel.
Right.
It's not an Airbnb. You're feeling at home. And I said, "Oh, yeah, you guys are like family. I feel like I'm at home here." That's what I want. When people come in my home, I want them to feel like they're at home, like they're comfortable. That's what we're doing.
And that's our legacy as moms, right? Like when you're raising your children, you're this homemaker, you are creating this environment that they can instill within their children or instill within their friends. You want them to kind of, that's your legacy. What are you leaving behind? Are they seeing you and your spouse being loving to each other? Are they seeing you fight and bicker all the time? Are they seeing, you spend time with them and encourage them, and yes, discipline, because that's important. But what are you teaching them so that they can go out and teach their children as well? That's our legacy.
My upsetting part was on the media that they were not culturally sensitive, right? Because as someone that is Hispanic, I know that majority of women in Latin America dream with just staying home, right? Even if they went to college, even if they finish a degree, they still want to just stay home. And to make them feel that is like such a low dream, and it was offensive as a Hispanic woman to hear that being a homemaker. Like, I know a lot of friends that are homemaker, and I immediately call them and say, "How are you feeling?" That the entire media is like, "Just a homemaker?" Like, they have done
like the
such a
biggest
great
job.
It has not always been this way.
Right.
It has not always been that. History has shown us that women have been revered as mothers and homemakers. And back in the 20s and all the way back, men lived to make their women safe and their children and provide for their women. And women were held more into a pedestal. Yes, there were bad men. Yes, there were things that needed to be changed.
Right.
But in general,
Right.
women, a woman that was home or a mother that had a baby was to be revered. Now, I'm going to just say this. It is important what our home does for people that come into it.
Sure.
But it is most important for the people that live in it. So when my man comes in that door, and I know when he's coming, because he calls me, because I want to make it ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I just want to pick the toys up off the floor. But he comes in that door, I want him to shut that door and say to himself,
I'm so glad to be home.
they can't get me in here. My girl's here, my kids are here, my dog's here, and I'm loved and I'm cherished and I'm honored here.
Yes.
I want him to feel like that. I want my kids to come in the door after school and there to be a transition from the car, which is real important for me when you pick them up at school, and then transition into home. I don't want the yelling and screaming, hurry up, get your stuff, blah, 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 blah. Like, there is always some of that. It's always chaos. But I want it to be a place where they feel peace, even in chaos.
That's our safe
remember
space.
somebody-
A safe haven.
has to
They
be.
talk about the safe spaces. This is
Right.
a safe place.
Yeah, safe
It should be a
place.
safe place.
I remember somebody said to me, the greatest thing you can ever do, this is when I was first getting married, is have your home be the sanctuary.
Yes.
I love that.
It is
that's
a place
beautiful.
that is
They can't
calm
get
and
you in
beautiful.
here.
Right. And so that's, we all try. Not that we don't lose it or go crazy, but really just that is our calling. This is we're the CEO here.
This is what we bring. And you don't have to look very far than if you have sons that have grown up in this and then they go to their apartment and you're like, leather sofa, equipment, music,
No
TV.
pictures on the wall.
That's it.
No pops of color.
Then
no
you know
woman,
a girl,
like,
but you know a girl is around.
Yep.
When something starts
When something
showing
starts
up
to
around.
shift.
Right.
And
Oh,
then when they
that's
get
funny.
married, it's like, oh, she comes in and
Yeah.
why do we deny this?
It's that softness.
It is such a beautiful thing
And
that a
it's
woman
gift.
brings.
It
is.
is the gift that
It
we
is a
bring.
gift.
Well,
and
that's
no
our
matter
value.
how we decorate.
That's our value. Women are supposed to be highly esteemed, right? And that's even been, there have been wars fought over beautiful women in history.
Yep.
That is our value as women, not just our beauty ladies, but it's our brains. It's what we bring to the table. We're birthing generations. That's our calling, is to bring life into the world, but also to rear them and to raise them so that they can also do the same thing, right? And it's just amazing. But I think it's also important to point out that we have to have men that create that space for us to be that.
Yeah.
They have to value us too, and we also have to value
Definitely.
ourselves.
It's a team effort.
Yes, by not going for that guy that just looks good and he can talk a good game. Like, you have to make sure that you're holding your own value and not allowing these, I say low lives, but the guys that don't esteem women to come into your life and steal that value from you. So
Well, but we also have the ability to lift that too. And
Yes.
I told my daughters I have 6 sons and 2 daughters, so that's interesting component there. But I told my sons, and my husband taught them too, this is how you cherish women.
Yes.
And one of my sons came home one day and said, "Mom, I don't know what to do because the girls in school are so mean, and I feel uncomfortable because the way they dress, and when you try to do nice things for them, they just like, why are you doing that?" And I just tell them, I said, "Baby, you need to treat these girls as the princesses they are until they realize that they are."
Yes.
And my daughters, this is a very powerful lesson we need to teach our daughters. You have the power to lift a man or crush him.
Right.
Yes.
Wield
Absolutely.
it wisely.
With your
Wield
eyes.
it wisely.
With your eyes.
That's right.
This has not always been the case, though. In the 60s, we got hijacked. And we were told lies. And we believed lies. And then those lies all of us have been infiltrated from this thought process, this cultural lie from feminism. And we're all suffering a great, so we are suffering more as men and women that we even have to say homemaker is a bad thing.
Right.
That we have to defend such a thing. I want to tell you something. My son, for Mother's Day, said, "You're going to the movie." Now, I don't go to movies very much because I usually get mad because there's always propaganda. And I
like
said,
me.
"Okay, I'll go. I'll go." And he's like, "No, we bought you your seat. You're going on Mother's Day." So we went and we watched the movie called Unsung Hero.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole movie, I kept waiting for Rebecca St. James, like all of her stuff in King and Country, to it show up, and not to give away the movie. But the movie was about the mother.
Yeah.
And several times it caught in my throat, and my husband and I were both crying. Wow. And at the end, it was so miraculous. I can't say what happened, but I just sat there and I said, "This is a movie about a mom. This is a movie about a mom. Like, she's not weird. Like, their kids aren't weird. Like, she's a movie about a mom." Right. And then the very last quote was from Mother Teresa. It said, "If you want to change the world, go home and love your family."
That's so true.
And that's what that woman did. And the movie was about a mom. That has never happened, I promise you. Unless they're a weird mom. And I'm mad and I'm leaving in the middle.
Well, kudos to them. I do feel like, it's a whole separate conversation, but I do feel like everyone is kind of catching up to the foundation of the family again.
This is why we need the restoration.
Right.
The restoration.
that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to restore the value to motherhood, womanhood, marriage, and home. And we're going to have to do it one home at a time. But it's so easy. We've just been lied to. We've been told that genders and jobs are the most important thing. And it's
so
not
not.
that they're not, but we forgot such a piece of value. We forgot the roles. Feminism took our roles out and said we didn't need them. And said, no, it's all about gender and it's all about jobs. And it's not. It's about those roles.
Divine roles.
Well, and I think
God-given
that is
roles.
absolutely the reason why Harrison Butger was under such attack.
Yes.
Because they know how powerful our influence
yeah.
is.
Absolutely.
And they, whoever you want to call them, they know that we have the ability to lift or tear down a culture. And women are the ones who are destroying the country. It is women who are doing it. Radical feminist women. And we as daughters of God who know the importance and significance of being a woman and being a mother. We need to stand up and be the voice and the face of the change of that. You can behave that way. You can storm Washington, D.C. and wear your funny costumes, but we're going to stand up and we're going to be the light where we are and stand as ambassadors for truth and counter all the negative that they're pushing on
The
women.
problem is these girls don't know how, because they haven't seen it. Okay, they
Right.
don't know what this looks like. They don't see it in the media unless their mama's like that. They don't know it, and it's like I always say, motherhood and marriage is not a natural talent. It's a skill.
It's a work.
But you can learn it.
we can learn it.
You can learn it.
We
That's
want to
why
learn
we-
more about
Yes,
that. We want to learn more
absolutely.
about that.
Okay, so with that being said, we are going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
The Herzog Foundation exists to catalyze and accelerate the development of quality, Christ-centered K-12 education so that families and culture flourish. To do so, we've created comprehensive programs designed for Christian schools across the nation. One of those programs is found at readlion.com. The Lion carries news articles covering issues especially related to the education of children. These are timely, critical, must-read articles for families, educators, and leaders. Another program is the Herzog Foundation Institute, where we provide training for Christian educators led by national thought leaders in subjects such as marketing, donor development, and culture building. All training events are fully funded by the Herzog Foundation. And finally, with new Christian schools popping up all over the country, we've created a free online resource to help with the process. HF Schoolbox provides lessons and free mentorship to help launch groups navigate the startup process every step of the way. We're the Herzog Foundation. You can find out more at herzogfoundation.com.
Welcome back to our couch. This is one of my favorite subjects, talking about the powerful influence of moms. And I love that we have Mona on as a guest host today, but I also want to talk about what it is that you do. So for those of us who don't know, we all know, right?
We all know.
That Mona,
We want you to know. We need you to know.
being America's mom mentor, you have a website called Moms Like Us. And you have the incredible resources that you have on there and the mentoring program. The thing that immediately attracted me to you several years ago, 2017 was when we first connected, was the book that you wrote. And the book was great, but I couldn't get past the title, The Unstoppable Generation. Wow. We are the ones that we're looking for, that we've been waiting for. And I think about that because we had the latchkey kids, and we had the women who are convinced, don't be at home, you're wasting your time and your life. And a lot of those children who were raised by the moms from the 70s said, you know what, there were things my mom didn't tell me, and I want to be with my children. And that created, I think, this unstoppable generation that are going to do whatever we can to protect our children and our culture. What do you teach these moms? And how do you inspire them to realize the powerful influence that
Take
they
a
are?
nap on Thursdays is usually what we boil down to. There's a real good reason. You want your man to be happy.
Yeah.
And so you need to at least take a nap on Thursdays. So that's always a big joke. But truly, being a mom is something that we learn, and each mom has individual things that they're struggling with. So a course or a podcast or simply a Pinterest with, points like, oh, I'm going to try those things. Mm-hmm. And then you flip past two things and you kind of don't remember the other thing that you were doing. You need to be mentored. You need someone to be able to talk you through what you're dealing with and to encourage you in that. So although I have, the podcasts and the books and the courses and things, it is within the Moms Like Us Academy that real change and restoration takes place in moms and their marriages, their mothering. Most of the time, a lot of the moms end up wanting to go home, but it's hard nowadays. They're saying we can't afford it. And so we're working on a course right now to show you, is that really true? Can you get home? And to help them get home. It is individual but yet it is all encompassing in a mom's life. What I have found with the moms that I talk to, almost every single one of them, the thing that they're the most afraid of is that their marriages aren't going to last, and their kids are going to get screwed up, and they're going to be the reason. No mom wants that.
That's a lot of anxiety there.
Tremendous.
A lot of
And they
this is
haven't
big from the
seen it.
disconnected generations. If
Yes.
they're not seeing what other moms are doing and learning from them, how can they?
Well, they're seeing Instagram and TikTok.
wow, that's true. Yeah.
So that's what they're seeing.
And the Facebook perfect. You know the Facebook perfect. Like the only thing you show on Facebook what you want all your friends to see is perfection. This is what my kids look. This is all the great things my kids are doing, and so you're feeling like a complete failure when they get off Facebook. They're falling apart in the background, and you
Well, I
don't see
think that's
that.
kind of what we're seeing too in friend groups. Like we're seeing, because I'm not always online. I mean, I am kind of because that's my job. But when I'm not online doing the things that we do, when you're in your friend group, that's kind of what you see. You see the mess that everybody else is in. And
But it's really good because, well, what we don't want and what we have had is fellow travelers trying to figure it out.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Right?
And that was my point.
Because
is we
the
don't have,
older ones, they're
Yeah.
MIA.
yeah, we don't have that.
I can remember driving down the road, and I would have all these women. I had a wait list to mentor. I would literally go sit at Panera, and the girls would just come through all day on Monday,
wow.
Wednesday, and Friday. And when the one got here, the other one knew they needed to leave. And because you can get to it so quickly as an older woman, you're like, oh, he's not going to have that pacifier when he's 9, baby. It's fine. You know, it's just the
need
littlest
that.
things.
I think this is what the church has done well in the past. I mean, I
They're
did a
not
lot
doing
of
it now,
I did a
Dad.
lot of mentorship in church, and I always would look for moms to mentor me, to be a part of it. And there
They're
used to be a lot more popular when I was
No, they're playing golf and tennis and pickleball. And when I see him drive across the front of me, and as I'm going to Panera for another, long list, and I just have a waiting list of women that just want to sit, and I'm not special. Do you see? I'm just a girl in Plano, Texas, with my blonde hair and my white convertible. Like, not special.
Well, I kind of just want to give a little bit of a different perspective here as a younger mom, the millennial generation. We don't have those older moms that are willing to sit down with us and explain this. Or even if we do, and we are getting these mentors at church, a lot of times my friends and myself have come across women that feel like they're holier than thou, and there are topics that are that you can't touch on. You can't have real tangible conversations with people without feeling like you're being judged. And so how do you get past that as a mentor? What is your advice for us younger moms?
Join
I know
the
there's a lot
Moms
of
Like
that,
Us
but-
Academy.
Well, yes, do that.
Where
can we find it?
How do you do that? I do want people
yes.
to know.
Yeah.
How can they get
then answer
connected
my
with
question.
you?
How they can get connected with me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. MonaCorwin.org and momslikeus.org. Moms Like Us, the whole title, the title of the podcast and the show is Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Because it's okay to say, oh, we're messy hair buns. I hate that, the messy mom business and everything is so hard. I'm like, girl, take a shower. It takes 10 minutes. Open the door, let the baby cry. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Right.
It's simple.
Well, it's because the world
stuff.
is telling you that there's a specific way that you have to raise your children, and they're telling you everything wrong. There's this great woman. I gotta have her on the Mom View at some point in time. She wrote a book called Free Range Kids.
Oh,
And
I know
it
this.
blew everybody's minds because she's like, let them be kids.
Yeah.
It's okay if they climb up on the slide the wrong way. It's okay if they fall off the handlebars.
teaches
We're
them resilience.
wrapping them in bubble tape and saying, don't get hurt because the world will look at us like we're terrible parents if they skin their knee. And they're setting us up. The world sets us up to fail, and we're always comparing ourselves to someone else. I think it was you, Mona, that said this a few years back, that we are judging ourselves in our pajamas and our hair rollers by the woman sitting at church with everybody perfectly positioned and in their great clothes. And that's how we're constantly looking. We're always grading ourselves at the lowest level, looking at everyone else at the highest.
Well, that's just the enemy's click, click, click in the
That's
ear.
it.
So you need to have people around you, moms like us, but we're going to show you how to do things like this. We're going to show you how do you read your Bible with babies at your feet? How do you find time for your man, even if you can't take a nap? Like, how do you?
I like that nap part.
Well, it's Mona, my mentor.
Mom will tell you straight. Just
You're right. You asked me.
take
you're
a nap.
Tell you. I've got a resource that's 41 texts to keep you on his mind all day.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Oh, wow,
That's
nice.
awesome.
They just happen to be mine. Number 16 is my favorite.
Okay, so I want to
That
talk
might be for
about
another segment.
right.
We'll
Right.
talk backstage.
So there's the whole thing about mentoring. I just love this, that we can mentor each other as mothers. But I have to say that there's a lot of mentoring that comes from our children. And so I just wanted to, talk a little bit about some of the lessons that we've learned from our children and how do you use that in your program. So mine, and every time somebody says, what's the one lesson that changed your life? There's so many, but the one that always comes to me is my son. I had the two youngest ones when they were little, they were, 5 and 3, 5 and 2. And I'm so tired of their room being messy all the time. It just drives me crazy. So I came up with this brilliant idea. I got off of Pinterest or something. And it was like, put everything in buckets and label everything so the kids know where they are. And I'm like, great. So we had redone their whole entire room as a castle theme with a turret and a ball pit. It was the coolest thing ever. And I got this shelf and I put all of these buckets out and I had labeled every single thing. The Duplo blocks go here. The Army men go here. It was so easy. And I brought them in and I said, this is all you need to do. Just here's the bucket. Here's where it goes. Just follow the bucket. And a couple days later, I come in and the toys are everywhere and they're all in the wrong buckets. And I'm so upset because I spent all that time and I followed the Pinterest board. And I looked at my sons and I said, why can you not just put the stuff in the buckets? And Noah, my little 5-year-old boy, looks up at me and says, Mommy, I can't read the labels.
Poor baby.
That's awesome.
So what did we do?
There you
Pictures then?
Pictures.
Yeah,
So I went and I
pictures.
put pictures on all the labels.
I bet you didn't even think of that in that way until he said it.
We
And that
have
is
to
so
remember
cute.
they're just little people.
Right.
And they don't
Right.
know and understand things that we do. And sometimes we expect them to be on our level. And I think we do that to our men sometimes too. We just expect them to understand us. And let's be honest,
Read
ladies,
our minds.
we're still trying to figure ourselves out.
Yes.
So.
Right.
Yes.
No, I
For sure,
like that.
100%.
I kind of resonate with that a lot when you said that because I have 4 kids at home. I'm a bonus mom too, so he comes every once in a while. But to have them to understand that one moment where you're just like, they're human and they're trying to learn the world that they're in. And we have to help them navigate that world. And if we're not patient enough to understand, like, this is all new to you. I've been doing this for however old I am, but this is new to you. You've only been on the planet for 6 years. So yeah, you're going to throw a temper tantrum when mom says you can't watch Bluey. I'm sorry. Or when it's time for you to go take a shower and you're like, I don't want to take a shower. I want to go last or I want to go first or whatever it is. And you're just like, no, you can't. And you expect a temper tantrum. I mean, just expect them.
I've
I've learned how to just expect them.
that new to you. We need to have some kind of phrase or
I think
curriculum or something
Yep,
around
this
new
is new to you.
But
Right.
here's the
Here's
point.
how you do this. Yeah.
You are talking about new to you with your kids.
Yeah.
new to
It's-
us,
Baby,
too.
it's new to you too.
It is absolutely.
And so that's why
Oh.
you need mentors.
100%, and you have to give yourself grace because I've never been a mom before.
Right.
Even
By
with
the way,
5
by the
kids,
way,
I've never been a mom
In
before.
the culture, in the Hispanic culture, and that's something I noticed that, for example, when I had my daughter, all my aunts were at home. Like, I never, I had people watching my baby so I could nap.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel
No.
tired. They will change her. They will do things.
You
Those
had a
are things that
community,
I'm grateful
family.
for my Hispanic heritage. They're always there mentoring you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too much, Sometimes it's like, if it's hurting, go get this tea. It's like it comes all these recipes.
yeah.
But it is like the Latin culture. It's
That is very
mentoring all
true.
the time.
Oh, I
And
love
family
grandmas,
is
the
so
aunts.
important.
Yes,
Very
family.
true.
is
But that
very
is not
important.
happening
It's not.
in the United States
No.
and the culture we're in with the
And
moms
the
that we have now.
responsibility
I
this
think-
And they're
society
frustrated.
has to other countries, right? Because
Yeah.
we have influence.
Yes.
And now we need to, Mona, you need to influence those other cultures back to motherhood.
Yeah.
I think if we're two things I would say. If you're not mentoring someone, then you're being mentored.
Yes.
And that circle is just always happening.
It's
I think
so
it's both.
always
I think
happening.
it's happening at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
You're mentoring
because you
you're
have to be
learning
mentoring.
things,
You
and
have
you're
to
learning.
be being mentored
Yeah.
because there's things now that I'm learning with adult children. You know, so my youngest is 19.
Oh wow.
So, you know,
right.
so you
Yes.
learn, you're always being
you're
mentored by
always
someone
learning.
before you that has the experience of letting your children go, letting them be adults, or you're learning about this. And it's all really, it all comes back to you as a mom. You are the one that's continually learning
Absolutely.
to be better, and they're continually
know it.
learning.
Guys, there's no handbook. Follow Mona. Go
Actually-
to her class and her course.
Actually,
She'll help you.
there is a handbook. It's called the Bible.
Amen.
But Pinterest is
Okay.
not going to help
Pinterest
you.
is not right.
Pinterest is great for parties.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to figure out how to take, it's just women need women.
Yeah.
Period. We need each other.
I like Pinterest to pick paint colors. I don't go to Pinterest for parenting help.
Correct.
There you go. That would be,
So true.
you know,
Follow the meme.
Parties.
You'll be fine. No.
Well, you know, we're
Yeah.
talking a
Follow the
lot
Bible.
about all the motherhood, our divine nature, the homemaker thing, and it's like, how do you lift and build this culture? And we have a really great guest that's going to come on and talk about manners. You think about that, manners. What does manners have to do with anything? It so ties in with this whole entire discussion of what we're creating and what the world's going to look like. So we're going to come right back, and we're going to have another guest join us on the couch. And Mona will still be here. So we'll have great conversations talking about the importance and significance of manners for ourselves and our children. We'll be right back on the Mom View.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like, Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
The most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up and we will not give in.
So if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Welcome to the Momland Revolution. There was a great book written in the late 1800s by a man named C.E. Sargent, and it's called Our Home, and he talked about the importance and significance of home and mother and everything that we're teaching. And there was a quote from the book that just really impressed me that totally ties in with our conversation here. If your boys wrangle and contend at home, if they cannot discuss with dignity the little questions that arise in their daily intercourse with one another, be sure they will not honor the nation when they take their places in Senate halls to discuss the great problems that confront the civilization of the 19th century, now the 20th century. So this is why, so I met this amazing woman. I was at an event in California, and she came up to me and she said, I talk about manners. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, for children 0 to 5. And I'm like, what? So I said, we have to have you come on the Mom View. So Priscilla Jordan, she does this incredible program talking to moms about teaching your kids manners and why that's so important.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the couch.
Beautiful ladies. I can't tell you what a pleasure this is to spread the movement that I'm trying to start on having moms teach their children as they're young manners and a character, all the things that go along with that.
So I like that you called it mind your manners, because when I grew up, I was surrounded by a lot of family. I would go every summer to visit my family. It's a little town in Pennsylvania, and a lot of very older women. My great grandmas I stayed with. It was all of her children, and they grew up in that time of, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and I cannot tell you how many times as a 4, 5, and 6-year-old I heard, mind your manners, mind your manners. Like, I don't know what that means. Okay.
Well, and another word with that too is common sense.
Right.
And my mother-in-law told me one time when I was doing a parenting ministry with my husband, well, everything you're teaching is common sense. I'm like, but I didn't know that. I wasn't raised with, yes, I was raised with manners and such, but even in the 80s or the 70s and the 80s, it was being pulled away. But it is really common sense. And if you listen to the media now, you will hear common sense come up more often. I must hear it when I do my research and stuff, at least 4 or 5 times a day. So what I want to give to moms of young children is teach your children common sense, but work on their character, work on the heart of the child.
And common courtesy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And creating great families one mom at a time is my byline.
So how do you do it?
Well,
Great
I'll
question.
give you a little guide that I have here. So the actual...
I love this. You've got your, you've got to see this
bit.
picture.
Yes,
So this is amazing. If you can't, got to see this picture here. You're wearing the beautiful, it's like
so
Audrey
cute.
Hepburn, the beautiful dress and the pearls. And it just, this is the perfect outfit.
Well, the Lord put that on my heart so that I could, start to, remind people of a little bit of manners, back in the 50s when there was manners that happened. And shortly after that in the 60s, and our historian here will tell you how things trajectory, went completely the other way. But it is really a lot of fun. It catches people's attention. So whenever I'm on studio or I'm talking in a group, I do wear the costume in order to, just promote, what I'm talking about. And bottom line is raising the heart of the family.
Raising the heart of the
The heart of the family. The why. Why do we teach our children manners? We don't just teach our children, please, thank you, and mind your manners. It's why do we mind manners? Why? The heart and the mind connection is so incredibly important.
I think that why connection is important too.
Well, yes, you have to.
Especially
You have to
if
connect the
you're a
mind
2-year-old,
and
right?
well,
why do I have to say thank you?
Right.
That's a question my 6-year-old asks all the time. But why?
Because it matters to the person. It matters it's something. It's a heart thing, and
when you're teaching their little hearts, that's what they're going to grow into, right?
Absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, the reason why I work with preborn, which means the moms who are pregnant that are learning like I did. I had 7 books to learn how to become a mom. Parenting isn't for cowards. Dare to discipline. All kinds. It wasn't just about birthing my child. I read that too, but it's just horrifying.
Right.
But
and definitely not all the right
Don't look at the man
information.
behind the curtain.
right.
Definitely not.
But outside of that, it was just trying to find out, can I be a good mom? I never wanted to be a mom. I never wanted to be married.
Really?
I was 17 years old. My motto was, I'm never getting married. I'm never having children. My mom was married and divorced 4 times by the time I was 24 years old.
So that's had a huge effect.
And I came from all kinds of, things in my childhood, which is whatever. But, the Lord saw me through and this and that. But the Lord changed my heart. And he gave me the ability to research, and to really try to find out, how can I be a good mom? Or no, how can I be a good wife in order to be a good mom?
Oh, see, I think that connection's missing. And I like that you bring that up.
Yes. I was blessed with a man who came along in my lifetime, and I avoided him for 3 years. He had the most gorgeous blue eyes, bluer than my eyes, bluer than my girl's eyes. And he would come and see me where I was working, and his eyes were like, meh. And he just, the moment he says he fell in love with me the moment he met me, which is amazing, you know, way back then and such.
Well, he had you at that then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but no, he didn't.
She made him chase.
I know I didn't.
She made him chase, and I think that's important. I think that's what's missing in today's culture is it's a lot of transactional hookups and things like that because of like social media and all these dating apps. And so making him chase is important because he realizes the value that you have as a woman, right, and the value that you can bring to as a wife and as a life partner, as a mother of his children. So it's important for our young women, speaking as a young woman, to understand that the chase is just as important as the goodies, if not more.
Well, it wasn't intentional. It was, I was serious.
No, yeah.
I'm not getting married and I'm never having children because I never saw anything in my whole childhood. There was not one of my girlfriends or guy friends that had parents that had a marriage where they dated, where they traveled, where they kissed, where they held hands.
No happy couples.
Not that I saw of. And then being, kind of abused as a child and such, I was thinking, well, why be a child? I mean, why have a child and bring a child into the world if this is what's going to happen? So through time and this and that and through God, thank God that he changed my whole entire life.
He does
and
that. He does
and it was
a really great guy.
He did. And he just kept pursuing me. I kept going for 3 years. No, I'm never getting married, blah, blah, blah. 3 weeks before we got engaged, because I figured out he was going to ask me to marry him, I let him know I am never getting married and I'm never having children.
Just in case we were not clear.
Did you see my
they say
t-shirt?
never say never.
All right.
I'll tell you that.
Right. And
One
don't
thing,
ask for
never
patience.
say never.
Right.
So I'm just perusing. We're all sitting here perusing through these booklets. I know we're all like, our eyes are fascinated. So you have these keys.
Yes.
Key number 1, don't forget to breathe.
Oh my goodness. It's something, I have a yoga instructor that teaches me. She says, Priscilla, you need to breathe. It's God-given breath. You need to breathe. You need to breathe. But you know what? We don't breathe.
We don't.
And I am a very shallow breather. And she taught me that. So when I have to practice breathing. And one day I was in Temecula Valley in Southern California. It's a high desert, super hot, wine country, beautiful. Yeah. And I am in a van with my girls. My husband decked out the van, so it was all really cute. But my girls were 3 seats in the back. Back of the van, 3 car seats. And it was so picking hot outside. And we're racing to ballet, to gymnastics, to do whatever. And on Focus on the Family with Dr. James Dobson at the time.
Yeah, I love him.
So he had a group of 3 women on that were talking about breathing. They were older women, mentors that we need. Absolutely. And I was like, oh, breathing, of course we breathe. Excuse me, we do not breathe. We do not breathe.
All right,
we do not take the breaths and think about the breaths all the time. So I really realized at that time. So with the breathing, it's also about self-care. And it's not just about, I'm going to go get a massage or I'm going to do this or I'm going to take some time out for myself, go work out or take a walk. It's also self-care for their relationships, for the relationship with their husband. A relationship in their marriage. If you do not have a solid marriage, you will not have a solid family. You can work on the family all you want, but if you do not have that, it will not happen.
I love that you say that.
You.
I think there's this culture where nowadays where we have younger women who, when you get married right away, it's like everyone's asking you, when are you going to have kids? Like, we just got married. You have to learn each other and enjoy each other, right? Because you're 2 people that live separate lives and now you're coming together, trying to figure out how to, build this life together. And if you, I don't want to say muddy that, but it's kind of what that does. When you muddy that with children right off the bat, you don't know how to cohesively build a relationship. And so you kind of tend to get lost in you should know this. Well, how do I know that if we just got married?
So I went to a wedding, and this young girl, she's like 24 years old. She having a great time. Decided it's their wedding and they're doing the dancing and everything. They get to the presents and it's opening up diapers and I'm like, who did that?
No.
I'm
Somebody's
looking. It was a
mother.
bassinet and diapers. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, they're still babies. Let them figure out who they are. It's like,
Our pastor, because I would not marry my husband unless I read a gazillion books, and in the 80s there wasn't a gazillion books to read, but I did read a lot. And I said, we're going to counseling, we're doing this, we're doing that, and he came alongside me, and I mean that was truly, I mean, to the point where the pastor was saying, okay, so Bart, what do you think about all this? So he said to us, he says, what I try to tell every young couple is to wait 5 years. It's
great
5
advice.
years, especially if you're younger, to wait 5 years in order to buy a home or, whatever, settle in, get your careers going on, learn about each other, and then have a family. And we took that to heart, although we had been together for 4 years at that time. Actually, we just celebrated 40 years of dating this last summer in Europe for over a month. So we were very blessed to celebrate dating, which my husband and I talk on all the time. But so we were able to get into the groove before we decided to have children. And it was a blessing that I didn't want to have children, so that I would hold back. And when I did finally decide to have, that I was ready after my 7 books with all the ones I mentioned before, that I went to him very unromantically and I said, I'm ready. I mean, I swear, I remember exactly in the bedroom where we were standing. It was daylight, and I just went, I'm ready. And he looks at me, and I'm hugging him because I'm so excited. I finally made, this whole thing. And he goes, ready for what? And I go, so funny. And I go, ready to have a baby. Oh. And he started cracking up. He just stood there cracking up.
This is the difference between men and women.
Yes. Right.
So I started out this whole idea of wait 3 to 5 years. That was totally my plan. I said, I'm going to wait 3 years. Then we're going to have children. I want to get to know this man. And we were married like a month. Right. And I just said, all I've ever wanted is to be a mother. I don't want to wait. We had a baby 10 months later after we were married.
But now how many grandchildren?
We had 9 grandchildren, 8 children, and we figured it out as we went. So I guess you can.
Yes, you can.
There's a way to do it. But it's just
plans too.
We're
all on our own journey.
You can make all your plans you want, but then he comes along and says, nope, that's not what I want. My son, he's 22, and the other day he says that he would like to have his son by 25. And everybody's like, wow, you're just 22. Why would you be saying that? I'm almost done with school. I don't want to be all raising children. It's more fun when you're young and you can do a lot of things with them.
It is.
But again,
there's so many cool things in here, and we don't even have time to talk about focus on the why, which is so important.
Yes.
But I really hope that people will come. We'll put this up on the website so people can find it and be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to touch in a little bit when we talked in Temecula, California, about you need to learn about your child and yourself. So you need to learn their love languages, how they give and how they receive love, and then also the birth order. That is a really
okay. This just
thing.
opens up a whole new episode. We need to have you come back. Whole new mom view.
Oh, that's great.
I definitely want to talk about.
Well, we are going to come back for some closing comments, so we'll hear a couple closing comments from you. But we do have to head over to a break real quick. So stay with us.
Thank you.
What kind of America do you want to leave future generations? What do you want America to look like for your children and your grandchildren? Our nation is at a crossroads, and it will be us, the mothers of America, who will determine the future of our country. What we teach and nurture in the hearts of our children and how we vote will make all the difference. If you love God, respect life, honor family, and cherish freedom, then use your voice and be heard. We teach these values in our home. Let's secure them with our vote.
Well, we're back and we're going to wrap up with a couple of comments. All right. We talked about motherhood. We talked about raising kids. We talked about marriage. All of this that happens within our homes. And, you know, I think here's what we want to do. We're just talking on the couch. We want to encourage you. That's what we want to do. We know it's tough out there, but just encouraging words here from the moms on the couch. You want to start, Kim?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that we realize our powerful influence as women, as well as mothers. And we should never allow anyone to convince us otherwise, because that's how we lose our country, our culture, our kids. We're a very powerful force, and we need to stand up for that.
Yeah. I would just say your house will never be a home unless you make it a home. And you're the best at it. You're the one that has all the gifts and all the talents. And I just think that moms are just the best.
And Debbie, my kitchen is my kitchen.
Oh.
That's my rule. Like, I even have towels that says, this is my kitchen. My kitchen. But you know, my favorite part is when someone asks my son, hey, would you like to eat in a restaurant? He's like, well, when you taste my mama's food, you will never eat anywhere else.
Okay. We're going to do one of the shows at your house then.
Oh, that's right. Definitely.
Definitely. Cooking with you.
Well, I have to say that if you want to know the truth of God, you're going to have to go to God's Word. And we can look at all the Pinterest that there is, and they have great ideas. But we look to God's Word. We see God's design. We're going to find our identity as women, and we're going to see how God has designed this. This is His design, and it's divinely done. And when we do it His way with His Word, and we're gonna be okay. So we got to look to God's design, and then we don't lose our identity. Then we don't lose our country.
Amen.
Oh, that's so good. I like that. That needs to be like on a T-shirt or something.
We're gonna open a shop.
Yes,
we're just
we
like
do.
doing
We
all
do
this
it.
stuff.
It's
We need
gonna
this
be
on t-shirt.
awesome. So for me, I think I guess I would like to speak to the ones that don't have either a mom or don't have a mother influence in their lives, or have had bad experiences with women, whether it's their bad advice or judgmental advice, whatever it is. I just want to speak to you and tell you that even though those have been your negative experiences, there are women out there that can give you the advice that you're looking for, like these women here. And I'm going to get a little emotional because I love Moms for America, and I love what we do, and I love seeing that spark in our moms' eyes, because our moms are hungry in this country. They're hungry for good advice. They're hungry for things that they can teach their children that are tangible, that mean something, that have value. And that's what we bring to the table. And having you two lovely women on this panel and talking about how you're mentoring young moms and all moms really of this nation is really humbling. It's important. And just follow the link, you guys. Go to momsforamerica.us, find Miss Priscilla over here and find Miss Mona over here and join all of their things. Buy all of their things, because you'll need it, and then share it with those other moms that are in your circle of influence.
That's good. Priscilla? Yep. A couple seconds here.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Moms, all I can say is be fierce. Be fierce for your marriage. Be fierce for your family. Be fierce for your relationships, your friends. Be bold. I was bold. I was a trailblazer. And a lot of people did not want to follow me and do what I was doing, or even like what I was doing. I was ridiculed. I don't care. My kids are a pleasure to society. My family, my marriage is a pleasure to society, and we give and we give.
The greatest work you'll ever do is within the four walls of your home. Mom, when Harrison talked about being homemakers, this is what we do best, because it is our beautiful gift divinely from God. Check us out, momview.com. We love you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.